Oh man, that music intro is something else, man. That was actually pretty cool, man.
It was pretty
Like
epic.
it was really nice. It was the same guy, right? The same guy who did it, right?
Did
He's
what?
the theme.
Oh, I don't know.
What's his name? He's a Swedish guy. Fuck, I forgot his name. He did he did the
Fish.
no, he did the
Swedish fish.
no, it's oh man, what's his name? Excuse me. What's his name? Hold on. Mandalorian uh music composer. What's his name? Ludwig. That's it. It was Ludwig. It was
But are
Ludwig.
you sure it is?
I'm pretty sure he is. They've been using him for like everything. He even did Black Panther. He's the reason why he's doing all this stuff is like he did Black Panther. That's why. I'm pretty sure he did it. I'm pretty sure he did it. Did he? Damn it. No. It says here that Kevin Kinner on April 2023, during Star Wars Celebration London, it was revealed that Kevin Kinner would compose the score for Ahsoka after previously composing the music for the anime series The Clone Wars. Okay. And Bad Batch and Tales of the Jedi. Okay. So they went with Kevin Kinner. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So, but Ludwig is amazing though. So, Ludwig is amazing, man.
You seem
like,
let down. You seem
he
let
is
down now.
he is like the most Ludwig is like the most accomplished composer today, music composer today, and not much people know that because apparently, according to the Netflix documentary, it's like a Swedish thing. It's like a Swedish culture thing that you don't actually flaunt all your success to people just to get jobs. You just let it happen, and then if people like it, then they'll just gravitate to you, which they did.
It's like Bill Murray. It's like if you want him, you'll
Yeah.
call him. Doesn't mean he'll answer.
Yeah, so it's like what ended up happening was like, if you ask them, it's like, oh, can you name me some of the artists that you work with and like the awards that you won? They'd be like, I don't know. Like literally, that's what they would say. They'd be like, yeah, I don't know. Like they wouldn't say anything. But there's one composer, I forgot his name. He's like, I don't care, I'll say it. He's like, I'll fucking say it. Anyways, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the 7-week weekly episode that we're going to be reviewing Ahsoka Tano Breaking the Jedi. It's going to be a weekly, like I said before, it's going to be a weekly episode. We're breaking down every single episode of Ahsoka Tano. We are taking a break from our Breaking the Jedi regular scheduled programming, and this is going to be a weekly thing. So this is going to be very interesting for Nate because he has a real job, essentially.
A real one.
Yeah, he has a real job.
I have to go to it.
Yeah, so he has a real job. He just doesn't wake up and like go to his office and like this and then just talk to a mic. But yes, we're gonna be talking about part 1 and part 2 of Ahsoka. Man, that was, I don't know, man. I mean, like I have to like structure my thoughts properly because there was so much good stuff in there. I just want to blur it all out. And there was so much bad stuff too as well, but I just want to blur out all the good stuff and like how like I fucking geeked out over this show. I don't know. What was your initial reaction to it when you saw it?
Well, I had time to sleep on it, obviously. So watching them back to back, I was like, yeah, okay, I really liked it. And then I woke up this morning, I was like, Like I liked it.
Wow.
I really liked it.
Wow.
But I felt like it was just missing a component to make me love it. We'll put it
wow.
I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying it was like
Nate coming out with some fists in there, man. All right.
And I'll be honest, part of it is because of the music.
You don't like the music?
I feel like one thing I've noticed with Disney Star Wars is that they're moving away from like the classic Star Wars music and making new Star Wars music, and it's just like at moments where I'm thinking there's going to be the classic Star Wars music playing, there isn't, and I'm just like, like
yeah, but now that's different.
Star Wars for me.
But now that's different though, because now you're looking for the old Star Wars stuff. You're not really looking at this as a new show.
Well,
So you're not judging it as an individual show. You're judging it based out of like it should be like this, even though it shouldn't. Does that make sense?
I mean, I agree, but it's just I don't know. I was like, oh, this would have been perfect to have this Star Wars theme right here instead of this.
Then that means you never gave this show a chance. If you
I
have
did.
that kind of mentality, then you never gave the show a
I
chance.
did. I did. I said I liked it. I never said I hated it.
No, no, no. Here's the thing. I don't know. I understand that, but based on your initial reaction, that it was missing a couple of things to be that perfect show, which is in your definition is a Star Wars type show. Does that make sense? So you're not looking at this as an individual show separate from the Star Wars universe, right? You're looking at it as this is Star Wars. It should follow Star Wars. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right. So in a way, you didn't really give this show a chance if it's not following that protocol, right?
I mean, the show's not over, so it still has time to
Oh, of
impress me.
course. I think that this show follows Rebels.
No, I didn't say it didn't. I just
No,
feel
no, no.
like I felt like certain. I'm not saying they would have to use every freaking score from every Star Wars movie or whatever. I was just like, I was expecting like this song would have been here at least.
Well, it's just kind of very odd. I'm not telling you that you should love it because I fucking love it. I'm not telling you should love it. Obviously, right? It's only been 1 and 2 episodes, right? Obviously, and what I'm saying is that if it didn't have that John Williams score, it's not Star Wars for you. Is that a good assumption? Is that a good?
No, because Mandalorian didn't have it, and that I
Mhm.
felt fine with it. It's just like I don't know. Maybe it's because of how these characters were
Okay, then okay,
seen in the original trilogy era.
okay. How about
Maybe
this? Okay, how about this? How about this? The Mandalorian you liked because the Mandalorian did not exist anywhere from and within the Star Wars universe. It was a completely separate thing.
that's
Where
probably why. That's
where
probably why.
where Ahsoka was within the Star Wars universe, so you expected it to follow Star Wars protocol.
Yes.
Okay, well that's good enough observation.
Yeah.
Okay, then that makes more sense. Then I understand. Then I understand. You're man, what is that word again? That's like hard, not a hard. It's like a different level of saying that you're a hardcore fan. I forgot what it was. Religious? No, that's not religious.
Die
It was
Hard. I don't
no,
know.
no, no. It was something else. I'm gonna like think of it. I'm gonna think of it. But you're within that realm. Me on the other hand, I see Star Wars. If it's not within the prequel, the original, and the sequels, I have a completely different mind frame on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I have like an infant's look on everything that is outside within that canon universe. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm like a little bit more open to it. It's like, for example, for someone like Ahsoka, I'm a little bit more open to it because again, she wasn't supposed to be a main character in Clone Wars. She was only supposed to be there for like X amount of episodes, and then that was it. People were just taken by her, right? And people just liked her a lot. So that's why there's like Ahsoka Tano everywhere. And then so when I look at this, I was more looking into as I want to see her progression because I see Clone Wars, Rebels, and her features in The Mandalorian and Boba Fett as her progression and what she has been doing all this time, right? I'm looking at all these shows. I'm looking at all these shows as saying, where the fuck have you guys been? That's what I would look like. Every single Star Wars TV show, Disney Plus show, I always look at it as, where the fuck have you guys been? If you guys don't answer me this on your Disney Plus special, I don't like it. So they have to answer it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
where
you
have
weren't
you
in the
been?
movie, so where were you?
Yeah, it's like all this shit is happening. Where have you been? It's kind of the same thing as like when you see Aquaman, all this shit is happening and all this explosion under the sea and all that stuff. Where the hell is everybody? Like the ocean, I get it. The ocean is huge, but at some point in time, you gotta have to see like a fucking 200-foot kraken just, you know, manifest itself in the ocean. Like someone's got to like satellite or something. Like you gotta have to tell me, right? So I see I look at these things like anything outside within that is like, where have you been? If you don't answer where have you been, then I'm not taken by it.
Yeah,
So, but so far things have been answering where they have been, especially if you actually have, especially when you watch Star Wars Rebel episode 14. Sorry, the last episode. Then you kind of know. Then you can kind of place where Ahsoka takes place now. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So, because like for everybody who hasn't seen Rebels, you're probably lost at like fucking what's going on.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, you gotta be. I mean, like, is that a good assessment that people who hasn't seen Rebels or Clone Wars would be lost at like what the fuck's going on in here?
Oh, exactly. Especially like when you watch for the people we just did the Solo thing. Like they see
Mhm.
Darth Maul and Solo, they're like, "Wait, he was dead." No, he's not.
Yeah, yeah. So you like you don't know what the fuck is going on. So it's the same thing as like, if you're looking at this show and you haven't seen any of the other show previous to it, you're gonna be like, why is Thrawn such a big deal? Like,
Yeah,
does he like shoot fires in his eyes? Does he have like is he like a Jedi kind of thing? He's like, no. And then you look at like Rebels, you're just like, he's just a blue guy walking around. He's like, yeah, but he's the Grand Admiral though,
yes,
right? He's like the Grand Admiral. So he's like the last one of the Grand Admiral. So it's, and then people will be just like, I don't understand. Then fucking watch the show first. Then, then watch the other show first, and then you'll understand, because it doesn't make any sense,
yeah. And
right?
then they'll be like, "Oh wait, who?" Like initially when they see what was it, Mandalorian? They see Ahsoka, like, "Who's this?" Oh wait, they find out, oh, this is Anakin's
Yeah,
Padawan. Okay, and then you watch this show, you're like, "Wait,
yeah,
there's Ahsoka. Wait, she had a Padawan. Wait, who is this
yeah.
person? Oh, she was a Mandalorian. Who is this person? What? Where is this? I don't get it."
Yeah, it's like, who are these people? Like, why is she saying like on? It's just like old times. Like, how is it old times? It's like,
It's like, we don't know you. Watch the show.
yeah,
I don't
you
like
just gotta.
cartoons. Well, then you won't know.
Yeah, so if you're gonna be listening to this and watching this on Plot Holes Pro, I suggest that you guys actually watch the show first, because just like you watching the show and you're lost, you're gonna be fucking lost in what we're gonna be saying in here, man, because it's not gonna make any sense to you. So just pre-warning, right? Um, so I'll get started on it. I'll say some stuff first,
All
and
right.
then we can go on your thing. Um, and it's not like I haven't been talking for a while.
That's all you do. Remember, this is your job.
So I know this is my job, right? So essentially, this takes place about a few years after Rebels, right?
No,
Well, how long?
this is. I mean, this. If you see Ahsoka, you see that this is taking place after Mandalorian.
Well, no, I mean, if you look at Rebels and how it ended, how it was narrated,
Yeah,
it
it ended.
literally
It,
it
it
literally
ended.
placed itself at the end of Return
Well,
of the
okay,
Jedi.
okay. We'll put it this way: if I see your point there, because in the show, it kind of like it ends like kind of like towards the end of the final episode. It kind of ends right before
Of Rebels, right?
right before like well yeah, Rebels kind of ends before we'll say for the sake of it short like maybe a year or two before Andor, and
Mhm.
then it cuts to the future where it's basically after Return of the Jedi or right towards the end of Return of the Jedi, whatever.
Well, no, because they said that what's her name with the lady that's all green? I forgot her name.
Hera.
Hera. They said that in the end of Rebels, that Hera fought at the Battle of Endor, and also
Yeah.
she had a kid. So that means when you
So it's
say
after
yeah, so
yeah,
when you
Return
say
of the
that, it's
Jedi.
So it's after Return of the Jedi, right? So that's why she became a general,
Yeah.
right? That's why she became a general. So she fought during the Battle of Endor. So that means and then they also said that the Battle of Endor, the fall of the Battle of Endor ended the Empire and all that stuff in there. So that means that we can place this a few years after Return of the Jedi. We can do that, but we can also place it somewhere before Mandalorian. That
No, because Ahsoka is already looking for, because the woman that is arrested in
mhm,
the episode that gets broken free,
mhm.
she arrested her in the second season of Mandalorian
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes. So this is taking place.
after season 2 of Mandalorian. So I'm assuming it's taking place
No,
either
because
during the same time as season 3 or shortly after season 3 of Mandalorian.
when did she meet? No, it can't be because she was still on season 3 of Mandalorian. She was with Luke on season 3 of Mandalorian. Remember when Luke was training Grogu?
Grogu.
Yeah, she still met with Luke.
Honestly,
So,
I'm not gonna lie, my mind is blurred. I'm not sure if that was season
so
2 or 3 that happened.
that was season 3. Yeah, so that means that because season 4 of Mandalorian is going to be a movie. That's what they said.
Uh,
So, so, so that means this takes place after season 3.
yes, we'll just go. It's after season 3.
It has to be after season 3
Yeah,
because they did. Because I think I have to look back on her conversation with Luke. I think they were talking about Admiral Thrawn in there. I'm not quite sure. I have to take a look
well,
back.
I know when she arrested that one chick, it was her whole motivation that was finding Thrawn,
Yeah, finding Thrawn and
which
everything. But
leads to this.
yeah, which well, okay, so this is where that whole fucking word the crawl shit comes in.
Yeah.
Because essentially the crawl shit just kind of explains everything. That's why I said I hate that fucking crawl because show us instead of making me fucking read it. Because now it's just like now we're in this fucking situation. We're trying to figure out where to place Soka. So
They'll make a timeline.
okay, so she arrested him, and then the world crawl happened. She's on her way to be detained somewhere else. Okay, she escaped. Then we can say that the events of season 2 has already happened, and then season 3, when she met with Luke, that's when this takes place. Because we can assume that she escaped during season 3.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know the
Because
exact
because
timeline. I'm assuming. I believe they said it takes place directly after season 3 of Mandalorian. It's just
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, season 3. Because if you
yeah. Remember in season 3 of Mandalorian, they were talking to the other higher ups of the remnants of the Empire, saying,
Mhm.
"Where's Thrawn?" And they're
Yeah,
like, "Oh, we can't tell you," kind of
yeah.
thing.
So it is season 3. Okay, so
Yeah.
it takes place in season 3. Okay, so now we can place it at season 3. Then, Jesus Christ, man, they would have just resolved the whole thing when they said Ahsoka Tano takes place here. That would have been fine. That would have been fine. But anyways, nonetheless, the execution of the show is really nice. What I like about it is this: the the Star Wars cinematography, it was there.
I agree.
The Star Wars type cinematography was there. So that was actually something I really appreciated and really liked. I really loved that part. The the dynamic between everybody who survived was still somewhat there. But it's kind of like you have to piece things together like a broken family. It's like, oh, what the hell happened? Because like on Rebels, you're just like, oh, she went with Ahsoka, so assuming that she's gonna do her training. And then in here, she's like, well, she quit on me. It's like, where? You're like,
Well,
what?
that's the thing that Disney does that on purpose. Like, okay, now we got comic books, we got games that we can fill up the gap with. They're
Yeah,
merchandising money,
I guess so.
merchandising.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. So when did maybe you can fill that gap? When did she quit on her?
We don't know. They haven't done that yet. They haven't done that yet.
Okay, okay. So apparently she quit on there. So I don't know if they're gonna explain that on. I don't know
The
if they're gonna
show.
explain that on the show or they're gonna explain it on the comic books. I don't know, but all I know is that yes, they there was something broken in there, right? The cinematography, the execution was nice. The music was really, really nice. I really like the music. They're really pressing on this violin thing, man, because I think the violin thing is really it does sound really nice. The fact that Dave Fillion and he hired the fact that Dave Fillion hired everybody
You
from
said Dave Fillion twice.
oh
It's
what did
Dave
I say?
Filoni.
Oh, Filoni, sorry. It's the fact that I apologize. The fact that Dave Filoni hired everyone from Rebels. I'm assuming that's what he did. He hired everyone from Rebels and be like, all right, we gotta do Rebels again,
I
but
mean,
it's
he
called
didn't.
Ahsoka.
I mean, the actors he didn't hire. The only one who's the same is the guy who plays Thrawn,
Mhm,
and obviously the voice of Chopper.
mhm.
And I think I can't remember, but I think Clancy Brown is playing the same character he played in the Rebel show. I can't remember if
The,
I'm correct on that.
the composer.
No, Clancy Brown. He was the guy
No,
who
no,
was
no. I'm
like,
saying the
oh,
also the composer,
oh yeah, and the composer.
the composer, himself, the
Yeah.
writer, the creator. So
Mhm.
he like did it all, man. I was after episode one and after episode one, the end of episode one, when they just when I forgot what that unknown Jedi or unknown Sith or
They're
whatever they
not Jedi. They're not even calling themselves Sith. They're
they're
just
not
like,
even
oh,
calling
we're
just
not Jedi.
they're just something else. They're like something
She
else.
was the apprentice. That's all
Yeah.
we know.
So yeah, the apprentice. So
Apparently, her character's name is Shin Hati. I don't know.
Shinhati. Okay. So
Shin
when
Shin
she
Hati is a hottie.
when when she stabbed when
Sabine.
she stabbed Sabine Wren, I was like, yeah, man, okay, I get it. Like the thing was, I was like, no way, they're gonna kill a main character. And then my wife was saying, "It's like they just killed a main character," because she doesn't know, right? So
I
she
mean,
was
if
just
you watch the trailers, you see she's
yeah,
still alive. But
yeah, she was just asking. She was just asking, like, they killed the main character. I was like, it looks like it. It's like, how can they do that? I was like, well, I paused it. I was like, you see the director there? Yeah. So the director can do whatever he wants. And also, and then I played it, and then it says created, and it says created by, and also the creator can actually do whatever he wants. And also, and then play it again, the writer, and also the writer could do whatever he wants. Just like it's the same person. Yep.
yes,
Do
he can
whatever.
do what he wants.
It's like he can kill Ahsoka right now if he wanted to. He can do whatever fuck he wants. He created the whole fucking universe. So, so I was kind of shocked that a little bit that they killed her off, and I was like, I don't think she's gonna kill her off. But it was a nice shock value. You know what I mean? Oh,
Honestly, I was watching that fight and I'm like, this girl, Sabine, I was like, she should have got her butt handed to her a long time ago, in my opinion. I was like, I feel like this apprentice is playing with her, but like then again,
yeah,
we don't know how much training
yeah,
Sabine had, so I was just kind of like, all right,
yeah,
well maybe I don't know the extent, so let me just
yeah. I still didn't like what I didn't like about it too as well is that the movements of the lightsaber battle is
it was
I they
very
need
weird. I agree, it
well
was very
they need to do better.
non-fluid.
Well, they need to do better on placing the cameras and when to cut. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you can't place the camera the way that you did with with episode one with the Obi-Wan and Darth Maul fight. Because you can just place it right directly in front of them. They were young, and the way that they move, it's like, it was fast and it was quick, right? You can't do that with these actors in here because it just doesn't they don't move as fluid as Ewan McGregor did and Ray Park did in their 20s. Does that make sense? So you just have to you have to place your camera and do the cuts in a certain way that makes it look like Ahsoka's fucking just, just flying through this fucking this lightsaber fights. Like she's moving so fast, right? But I don't know. I that still irks me a little bit because I mean, like it could have been solved by, you know, by different camera angles,
Yeah.
right? It could have been solved by that. Um, I mean, there's a lot of things in that show where I didn't like. I mean, like, no. It's more so like there's a lot more things in that show that I do like, but there's a little bit more. But the ones I don't like kind of amplify itself. Kind of like the very first scene with Ahsoka in there. That is the longest 7 minutes of my life of no one talking.
Yeah, that was. I was like, man, where are they going with this? I mean, I understand. It felt like a whole Raiders of the Lost. No, was it Raiders of the Lost Ark?
It's not even Raiders of the Lost
No, that's
Ark,
what I
man.
felt. I felt like it was Raiders of the Lost Ark, where he's like trying to like grab the skull, kind of thing, but it's her just turning things
Yeah,
slowly.
yeah.
I'm like,
Okay, yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So if you were to take Raiders of the Lost Ark and then what Nate is talking about, it's like the Raiders of the Lost Ark when he's trying to get the idol uh from the um from the stone kind of beam
pedestal.
kind of thing, pedestal kind of thing that has a pressure thing on it. If you were to take that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark and just extend it for 7 minutes, that's what that first 7 minutes of Ahsoka was. I'm just like, oh, come on, man. It's like, get to it. There's
Yeah,
there's a lot of scenes in there where there was a lot of movements being done and there was no one talking, and you're just like, you could have cut this. Do you know what I mean? Like it could have been cut, or I don't know, just
sped
not
up.
there. Yeah, or just not there. Like it's just not there. Like on Sabine's intro, she literally just spoke to the cat, and then there was no talking there, and she was just her like fondling some stuff.
It
And
was
then the next scene that they have her in, she was lying down, still nothing.
a very slow build, the first episode, but I mean, at least the end was really good.
Yeah, the end
Yeah.
was really nice. Yeah, the end was really nice.
I was actually surprised that like I'm like, wow, they actually stabbed her with a lightsaber. I'm like, okay, and she
Yeah,
lived.
yeah,
Okay, that's we don't see that every day unless you're Darth Maul.
yeah. Well, what about you? What did you like about the whole show?
Well, I like the lightsaber fight at the end. I was kind of like surprised because I didn't suspect that to happen at the very beginning episode for
Right,
Sabine to fight. I
right.
like that. I liked. I actually really liked how the unJedi, because I don't want to call them Sith until they call themselves Sith, but
Hmm.
I liked how they looked very medieval.
I guess. I mean, are
Like
they?
if you pay attention, like the master, his the way his suit is, it's made to kind of look like bulky, like plate mail. Like
Hmm.
I was looking at his costume design, and if you look at the third, uh, I have a theory about who the third one is, but like the third guy that they had with like the double lightsaber, Inquisitor type lightsaber, his was all looking like a medieval
Yeah,
knight's outfit.
yeah. I mean,
Very different compared to how most of the other Jedi would have more like samurai type clothing,
yeah. Well, it's kind of
robes.
Balin is like a little bit more of a which is Ray Stevens. Um, he was a little bit more. It was kind of odd because he shows like at the end of part two, which we're gonna talk about in a little bit. I know we're talking about still part one. At the end of part two, what's her name says, is that sympathy that you're showing towards the Jedi, because he's like, oh, it's a shame that all the Jedis are almost all gone, and he's like, is that sympathy? He's like, no, that's truth. It's almost like he was acting on his feelings like the way Sith does, but yet he is reasoning with the truth the way that Jedi's do, right?
Yeah.
So, and then they did say that he was one of the younglings. Which, by the way, I'm going to say this right
Well,
now.
he wasn't like a youngling. He was. I mean, obviously by his age, he probably was in his 20s.
But he said he
Or
was one of the younglings that survived. Now, here's my theory on it. He is that youngling that Anakin was supposed to kill, but he never did.
no, that's he would be.
Okay, but
He was probably closer to Anakin's age at that
enter
time.
entertain me on this. Okay, entertain me on this.
I'll
If this
entertain your wrong theory. Okay,
if
let's
if
go.
if if Anakin looked like the way that he looked like at the end of the Return of the Jedi. He looks like he was in his 60s, didn't he?
Yeah, but he was in his 50s.
but he
Not
looks like
far off.
but he looks like in the 60s when he took off that helmet, right?
Because the actor was probably in his 60s.
Right. But what
But
I'm saying
yes.
that he looks really old. He's close to the fucking emperors. Like, look, okay. He looks old. He looks really old.
He
Okay.
looked like toast.
Ray Stevens does not look like Anakin, and this takes place after episode 3. I mean, after season 3 of of Mandalorian.
Which is
So,
roughly 10
so,
years after
so
Return of the Jedi.
technically, yeah. So technically, Ray Stevens' look right now from Revenge of the Sith to now makes sense.
Yeah.
There you go. So my theory is that little boy,
It's
Dave
not.
Fillion literally took the
You said
meme.
Fillion again.
Did I really?
Filoni.
Dave Filoni.
Think of baloney when you say his name. Just say Filoni.
But he's anything but baloney. So
No, he's not.
he took the meme and he goes, I'm gonna do a what if on this. Fuck it. I'm gonna take that kid. He never really killed that kid. He never really destroyed or killed the younglings because they did state what's the name? Natalie Portman.
Padme.
Padme said, "Oh, they said that you killed younglings." Blah blah blah. He never said I did.
Of course, he doesn't want to make her any more mad at him than she already is.
He never said he did. So what if somewhere down the line and they showed that whole Anakin scene there and be like, Master Anakin,
Master Skywalker, what are we gonna do?
what are we gonna do? And then he just made that look, and then literally killed all the other stormtroopers behind him, and he let those kids go.
I don't think so.
But what if? What
Okay,
if?
okay,
But what if?
Okay, let me ask you this. Just entertain me on this. What if I'm right? What would you say?
I'd say you're right. If you're right, like I'd be like, well, you were right. I'm surprised because I would not think they would do that. But yes,
I'm just saying.
I have no problem with giving people the credit that they're due as long as they're right.
Because the thing is this. The way I'm reasoning with this is that with the whole thing that the robot says, Huyan, which is like the most Asian robot I've ever. He's the most Asian robot that I've ever seen in my whole life. What he said was that he was one of the younglings, and that's just kind of a cop out because
He was just saying like he
said he was one of the younglings that survived. So that's kind of a cop out. So let's think about this really hard, Nate. If he says that he is one of the younglings that survived, any other Disney Plus shows, TV shows, movies, and or video games and comic books, you can just say it's one of the younglings that survived. It's one of the younglings that survived. It's such a cop out because we've all we've known is that all Jedis were slaughtered or whatever.
Not all of them, because not all of them were there. Remember,
Yeah,
freaking
and
Kanan wasn't there.
Right, and they said all those things, and then all of a sudden,
wasn't there.
And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, it's one of the younglings that survived, and you're just like, well, any younglings could have just survived. So you have to say, when you say one of the younglings that survived, you can say that kid from Revenge of the Sith is the younglings that survived. That would make more sense, kind of a reasoning.
But the thing is, I think you misheard him. He was talking about younglings that he's trained, but I don't think he specifically said it was a youngling that survived.
Yeah, he did. He said,
I'm going to rewatch it when we're off of this thing, and I will be texting you to say you're wrong.
Yeah,
but if you're right, I'll say you're right. I got no problem with that.
He said his name is Balin. He is one of the younglings that survived. That's essentially what. Listen, man, he might be a robot. He might have a Chinese name or whatever, but he's anything.
It's outer space. There are no Chinese in space. They're whatever race they are. Okay, on Earth we have Chinese. Okay,
but yeah. So what do you hate about episode 1 of Ahsoka? Because apparently you have a lot.
I don't have a lot of hate. I was just a little disappointed that they didn't use any. They could have used a little piece of it for this of the old
Mm-hmm.
score.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been happier with that. The other thing I noticed, I don't know if you did,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems to be with only the TV shows, but I think maybe they're doing it because it's the TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
The lightsaber sounds seem kind of dulled down. Like they're not like if you were to play it alongside the movie sounds of lightsabers, they don't sound as sharp. I know that's weird. It's a
I'm
lightsaber
sorry.
sharp. What?
I'm sorry. Sorry, I just made that stupid ass giggle sound because it's a lightsaber, Nate.
Hey, it's just something I noticed.
What do you mean?
Where
It doesn't sound sharp.
it sounds like it couldn't even cut through butter. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm just saying, like
It's
it
such
sound
a-
the sounds are different.
That's it.
You're nitpicking now, man. Like
I noticed that I'm watching it. I'm like,
this is nitpicking to the core now, man. You're finding way.
and I'm not saying I hated it. I was just
I know, but
noticed
you're
it. I
but
noticed it.
but you're trying to find ways
No.
not to like this show now, man.
No, I
You're
didn't
like,
say I
"Oh,
didn't like it.
you literally said no. Lightsaber doesn't sound sharp.
they didn't.
What?
It didn't sound the same.
It sounds. I'm just saying. Listen to it. Listen to a movie
Well-
lightsaber sound, and then
Well, so far we know 3 lightsabers that no 4 lightsabers or whatever. 3 lightsabers. Well, not counting Ahsoka. 3 lightsabers, brand new lightsabers. Okay, we know 3 of them, right? One was the what's his name? Not Kanan's swords. It was
Ezra,
Azra's sword, right? That's technically brand new.
even
The-
though it was in Rebels,
The Chinese robot said it.
because
It was modified. It was modified, so therefore it's yours. So therefore it's also brand new, brand new sword,
and
right?
we're gonna go back to Rey Skywalker's lightsaber.
Just
Kidding. It's no longer Anakin's or Luke's.
Maybe that's why it doesn't sound so sharp because she fumbled
Maybe.
around with it.
Maybe. I mean, oh wow. What are you
Okay.
getting at, Tim?
Okay, so there's that lightsaber. Balin's lightsaber is also brand new,
Yes.
right?
The apprentice's lightsaber.
And the apprentice's lightsaber is way brand new.
And then the other guy, I don't know his name. The other,
Not the Inquisitors. No, we already saw that one in.
I know,
Obi-Wan.
but that's
anyway.
It's the same one. It's the same one. We already saw
I mean,
that one.
But
So-
we didn't see that guy before.
actually
No, not that guy. I'm talking about the lightsaber.
Actually, I think we did see that guy before, but we'll get to that later.
But no,
anyway.
but we said that. We said that in they said that those are the 3 lightsabers. Those are the 3 lightsabers that we haven't seen before. Okay, but the other ones that we have seen before. But okay, besides that, it sounds like butter knife to you. What? What
Sounds like
else?
butter knife. That's what. Okay, from now on, the TV show lightsabers are called butter knives. They brought out their butter knives.
So besides that, it sounded like butter knives to you. What else you didn't like about the episode 1?
No, I think yeah.
Everything else is fine.
I think everything else is fine. If I come up with something, I will say it.
Okay, so episode 1, like we said before, concluded with Sabine Wren being stabbed by a butter knife, according to
a butter knife,
according to Nate.
a rusty butter knife.
But overall, episode 1 was just to set the tone and also to reacquaint everybody to Rebels.
Yeah, it definitely did a good job of trying to show you who's who, what they've been doing. So if you don't know who they are, you know who they are now, and you kind of know what they've been doing.
Well, if you don't know who they are, now you know what their characters are, but you still don't know who they are, right? So I highly suggest that you people watch Star Wars Rebel, right? Watch that first, and then get back to this. Now you don't have to watch the whole season. You can actually go to Disney Plus, and there's literally, it says there's a category that says Ahsoka Tano timeline or Ahsoka Tano watch timeline. Just watch that. There's like at least 12 of them or 20 of them. Just watch that, and you get like a fast forward reacquaintance of who these people are, right? You won't know them thoroughly and what they are, but you'll know enough that it can get you past the show. Does that make sense? So I highly suggest watching that. So we takes us to episode 2. Now, episode 2, that's when the whole show actually gets cranked, like it gets cranked up, right? That's when they start developing the story and what's happening. So the whole story is that they're trying to find Thrawn. Now, again, when I say that you have to watch the show, because you're gonna be wondering why the fuck are they trying to find Thrawn and who the fuck is Thrawn, right? Thrawn is the Grand Admiral. He's the last Grand Admiral from the
I think
Empire.
there's only ever one Grand Admiral, and that was him.
What was it? No, there's been 2.
Who's the other one? Because he was the Grand Admiral of the Imperial fleet.
Who's that really old guy from?
You're thinking of Governor Tarkin. He was a governor.
He's a governor. That's right. Are you sure? I thought there was 2.
No, I'm Nate. But yeah, I'm sure.
I gotta have to look this up. So basically, they said that he's the last Grand Admiral and all that stuff. So you gotta have to find out who Thrawn is. So look back on Clone Wars, you'll find out who Thrawn is and why they're trying to find him, and why are people saying that he might be dead, he might be alive, right? Technically, everybody universally can agree that he's still alive, and because of the trailers. But also, this is where Nate is about to talk about the third guy. The way that that Thrawn was banished. Now the word is banished. He didn't die. The way that he was banished was there's these creatures. What are they called, Nate?
I don't remember, but they're basically space whales.
There's these space whales that can actually go through hyperspace to hyperspace willingly. And you guys who are fans of The Mandalorian have seen these space whales before, right?
Nice little Easter egg.
Yeah, when Grogu and the Mandalorian was going through the hyperspace, you'll see Grogu look to his side, and you're like, "What the hell are these things with the tentacles?" Those are the exact same space whales that we're talking about. They can go through hyperspace. They have something in them that they could do that. So essentially, at the end of Rebels, these space whales with tentacles attach themselves to a it's not a starship, is it? No.
I think it's been a while since I watched Rebels, but I think it was his Star Destroyer.
It was a Star Destroyer.
I think it was.
Yeah, so they attached themselves to Thrawn's Star Destroyer, and Ezra was in there. But Ezra was actually holding the tentacles firm on Thrawn, and then he was also holding the door shut because there were people coming in, right? So when they went to hyperspace, nobody knew where Ezra went. Nobody knows where Thrawn went. So it was a really open-ended show, right? That's why they're trying to look for Thrawn, right? Because he's still alive somewhere. Therefore, Ezra is still alive. And this is where Nate comes in, okay? Because there is a third person, a protagonist, along with Balin and what is the other girl's name?
Shin. Was it Shin? Well, I'll tell you. One second.
You have your notes
because I have the whole cast right here. Yeah, Shin. Her name's Shin.
Balin, Shin, and then there was a third guy who looks like an Inquisitor. Maybe he is an Inquisitor. I don't know. Maybe he just has an Inquisitor blade. We don't know. But he is fully armored from neck down. He looks like somebody could be someone, right? But there's a hole in terms of Nate's theory here. Who is this third person, Nate? Who do you think?
I think that it would be weird, and I kind of hope I'm wrong because it'd be too kind of almost obvious. Mm-hmm. Like that's Ezra posing as one of these people, but I hope I'm wrong just because like that would be kind of like so boring.
Well, here's what I will tell you. I don't think it's Ezra at all. 100%. It makes no sense. Because
that's why I'm saying I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Because Ezra went to the exact same place as Thrawn did.
But if you paid attention to the thing that Sabine had, that
Mhm.
that hologram was taken apparently afterwards. If you listen to the conversation, it almost sounds like I'd have to watch it again. Like I said, I
Mhm.
could be wrong, but from what I gathered from the first thing there is like he somehow got away. I don't
Yeah.
know. I would have to
No,
rewatch that.
because he said that he made that recording for her.
But he looked way too old in that compared to how old he was in Rebels. So I was like, is he
That
no
makes no
no.
sense. Then how would she get a hold of that thing then?
Somehow he gave it to her.
I don't know.
So
I don't
the
know
only
how.
no,
This
it's
works.
it can't be, man. It can't be. I think that there you're just looking way into deep to it because his clothing is the exact same clothing that he had when he made that message in Rebels. It's the exact same one.
But look,
No, I understand what you're
I
saying.
know no.
I understand what you're
I'm
saying.
just saying maybe the reason why he's with these people, if it is him that he's with these people, is to, or it could be somebody else, but I doubt it. But
Mhm.
if he is with these people, it could be because he knows they're going after Thrawn. He no longer has access to Thrawn, so he staying close to the enemy, acting like them.
How did he get away from? Uh, how did he get away from the ship then?
That we will find out later in the show.
That makes no
Like I
sense.
can't tell. It makes no sense right now
It
because we
makes
haven't seen it yet.
no sense. Even like okay, let's just say that that's what happened. It also makes no sense because if what you said, I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong, but what I'm saying is that if exactly what you said actually happened and somehow he got away when they went on light speed, that is the most poorest excuse ever. And the show is going to take a dive after that reasoning.
I'm just saying what I could think of. Obviously, I didn't write the story. I don't know how it's gonna go. But
Mm.
if this is how it goes, they better have a good freaking explanation for it because then exactly what you said, it'd be garbage.
It'd be fucking
That's
garbage.
why. That's why I'm saying I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Yeah. I mean, what if it's Kanan?
Kanan died. We saw him die.
No, we saw him die on an episode, but also in episode 14 of season 4, we knew that there was a certain pathway
The
that you
world
can
between worlds.
the
Oh,
world between worlds.
what if Ezra did that?
Well, somebody has to open the portal. And who would pull him out of the portal? There's only been 2 people that was in the portal. It was Ahsoka and Ezra. That's it
That we know of.
that we know of. Like who would pull them out? Again, it makes no sense. But what would make sense is that what if it is Kanan? If it's Kanan, then yeah. Like who would
Well,
pull
it could be. It could be 2 other people. Which,
because
but
like what if they do the stupid cop out again and it's the Emperor that pulled out Kanan? That's
I mean, the
that's
Emperor keeps coming back. So who knows?
he's like a
It
bad
must have
like
been cloning technology.
that the Emperor is like a bad case of crabs, man. It just won't
Keeps coming back.
it just won't leave, man. It just won't leave.
Well,
But
then the other 2 options, oh, 3. The obvious option is it's just somebody new. The other option is, which would still make no sense. It's Luke Skywalker. Makes no sense.
makes no sense.
And
No.
then the last option is, which would probably blow everybody's minds, but it'd be kind of hard if you're gonna cast this person. You'd have to age him up substantially. Would be Cal Kestis from the video games.
No. Can't be Cal. No, how?
I don't know. We're not there yet. You're asking me a question. I don't have the answer.
No. All I'm saying is that what would make sense, and it's kind of stupid if it does happen, because it does make sense, is the Emperor pulled him out from the world between worlds. Pulled out Kanan from world between worlds.
Ooh, here's another idea, although they probably won't do it. What if it's a clone of Luke, like in the original comics?
Hmm. It could be. Yeah. I mean, see now the only way that we can find out
It's to
that
watch the damn show.
to watch a damn show, but also the only thing that we can thoroughly have a solid theory on this is if we were to watch every single Jedi that ever existed and watch their movements. That's the only way that I can
Yeah.
think of. Because
Oh,
the way he moved.
wow! I just thought about this.
Oh,
Well, the person in the suit seems to be dressed like a man, but what if it's not a man? What if it's a woman? What if it's the Inquisitor that survived in Obi-Wan Kenobi? That
Inquisitor.
Obi-Wan let her live.
Yeah, that could be too.
I
But
just thought of that now. I'm like, well,
it could be too, yes. But it's very anticlimactic, though, don't you think?
yeah, but still, that's another possibility.
I mean, because like that means that you have to watch Obi-Wan. This they're
Look,
keeping
Disney wants people to watch their stuff. That's more money.
right, but the thing is that if you're going to create a type of hype on this person with no face, it has to be someone that we've known in the past.
Yeah, well, like
It,
I said, I've named plenty of people.
it has to be someone, and the only it can't be Star Killer because no.
I think probably the
No.
most highest possibility would be the girl from Obi-Wan
I'm gonna
because
go.
she used the same weapon.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Kanan, man. It's just the world between worlds just makes sense.
But to put that in live action, I like watching it in the show made me upset.
I mean, like, look at it. I mean, look at it this way, Nate. They said that this is technically Rebels.
I
So
know,
yeah, that was part of Rebels.
but still, it's like it was still a hard pill for me to swallow in the show. I'm like, oh, now they're doing time travel.
I mean,
Great.
no, they're not doing time travel. It's a world between
It's
worlds.
essentially time travel.
I mean, yeah, technically, but it's a world between worlds. You know what I mean? It has to be as much as I hate it, and as much I hate how it sounds, and as much as you hate how it sounds, Kanan would be the only one, and the Emperor would pull him out. That was the only.
Why would the Emperor pull him out? I mean, the Emperor is not even here anymore. Well, technically.
Technically, we don't know. Technically, well, it has to be. I don't know, man. I don't know. We're spending a lot of time on this, and we're not even having to talk about episode part 2.
All right,
but
well, let's start talking about part 2.
no, I'm on this now.
I opened up a can of worms
I'm fucking on this now.
with a butter knife.
Well, because the rest of part 2, is just them trying to actually find where this map is, where the map leads to, right?
Yeah.
And it's just resolving a lot of issues between Sabine Wren and
Well,
and
yeah,
Ahsoka.
there's a lot of reconciliation going on there between the two. The
Yeah.
master and apprentice finally getting back together. You got
Yeah.
you see the third, Inquisitor type person actually fight, which I was surprised that she, whoever held their own against Ahsoka the way they did. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. And then the whole I'm still wondering what's her name's son is. The general's son.
Oh yeah.
What's her name? Yeah. Where's her son? Right.
I mean, he'd probably be like 10 years old, so I don't really think. I don't know. After Obi-Wan, I'm glad they're not showing a lot of kids in this. Leia was annoying in that.
So so the second part of the show is just more of just like moving forward kind of thing. That's what it was. It's just that if you watch, I think the reason why they showed part 2 is because part 1, that's a long time to wait until part 2, because the way part 1 ended, you would actually think that Sabine Wren died, right? Or or suffering or something happened, right? So waiting another week for that is kind of like a little bit of a long wait for everybody. So might as well just show them part 2 so that you have people talking about part 1 and 2, and then the anticipation isn't so high by episode 3. Because can you imagine ending the first part 1, and then you have to wait for part 2, and then the way part 2 ended and the way part 2 was delivered and shown, that's a little bit of
I think
that's kind of a letdown kind of thing.
I
So
think
by
they
both,
showed part 1 and 2 together because it kind of was like an arc in itself, and it was easier to. I felt like part 1 and 2 together was an easier way of showing the relationships between that crew of people, and it made more sense to show them together than separate.
if you actually break down part 1 and 2, if you don't look at it as one big show, like a 2-part show, part 2 is a letdown. After part 1, part 2 is a letdown.
I
If you look
agree.
at it, yeah. So that's why I think that's why they had to show part 1 and 2, because number 2 is technically a letdown after how you ended part 1,
Yeah,
right?
but that's
So I
why I
think
said I feel like if you were to put it together as one thing, like would say the end of part 1 is kind of like the climax, and then you start
mhm,
falling back down to it starts a
yeah,
whole little up
yeah,
down, and then
yeah, because
that
you technically have to move on with the show.
yeah
Part 1 and 2 is just how did these people moved on and how are these people doing? What are they doing now? Kind of thing, right?
yeah
And if you separate them, part 2 is a letdown. So by showing them together, you're just like, okay, this is what happened to them. This is the reconciliation kind of thing. This We're moving forward. Here's the story. We're starting at number 3, at episode 3.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then technically, this show it's not a 7-part. It's technically
8.
5.
Well,
Technically 5.
yeah.
'Cause if 1 and 2 is the same thing, and then you start at number 3, then yeah, it's a 5-part series technically.
Wasn't there 8 episodes to this?
7 weeks.
7 weeks because we get
Oh
2
yeah, 8.
episodes, so
8,
it's
yeah.
8
So
episodes.
so
Yeah,
6. So it'll be a 6. So it's technically a 6-part
yeah.
episode kind of thing. Yeah. So no, I still liked it. The composing, the music, it's what I really liked, man. It's really nice. Like, you have to listen to the whole thing as a full. I really liked it.
I'm not saying that I hated the music. I'm just saying
Mhm.
that I was hoping for
Yeah.
some classic Star Wars score to be put in here because of the fact
Yeah.
that she was around during that time.
Yeah.
So,
I think that people need to prepare for number 3 to be a little bit of a disappointment when it ends, because you're not going to get the answer that you're looking for, right?
well,
You're not going to be in the next galaxy.
let's put it this way, because I know we're coming up to the end here. Let's theorize. What do we think is going to happen in the next episode?
It's just them trying to find the map again. And that's it. And them building the stargates, and
That's
them trying to
basically what it
prevent
is.
they're trying to prevent the stargate from being built. That's all what episode 3 will be, right? You know for a fact that
Well, that's
by episode 4 or 5, the stargate is built, and then you have a confrontation with Thrawn by 6, and then on 7 and 8 are connected to each other.
well. I think you're thinking too far ahead. I just want to know what you think the next episode is going to be.
Okay. Yeah, so it's just them trying to prevent the Stargate from being built. That's it.
I
It's like,
think
simple answer, Tim. Simple fucking answer, man.
it's like you're speculating too far ahead. I just want the next episode. Come on, man. I mean, I think that they're probably gonna go get maybe freaking
Wasted.
get wasted. Yeah, they're gonna get wasted and just like talk about old times. No, I think we're gonna see more of Ahsoka and Sabine training a little bit. We're gonna see possibly, because there's rumors, possibly maybe she takes Sabine to meet Luke. Possibly. I don't think so. I think if Luke does show up, it'll probably be once again in like the last episode. Be like, surprise. Because I don't know why. Like from what I heard, they're trying to put Luke in as much stuff as they can in this
Yeah.
era. They're like,
You know-
before Mark goes, we gotta put him in it.
I might be thinking ahead, but if Ahsoka ends with her just kind of like kind of going through hyperspace and just ending where the Mandalorian is just sitting there. You know how like Mandalorian like ended? Like, he's
Yeah.
just like fucking sitting there like fucking Thanos and shit. If Ahsoka ended the exact same way, on the exact same time where Mandalorian ended, and it's just like he just puts his foot down, and then you see Ahsoka like fucking come out of nowhere. I think that would be pretty cool, man. Because then that would set up the movie for Mandalorian, right?
Well, actually, they just debunked it. They are doing a full another season of Mandalorian, and then I think we're getting the movie. Because the movie is going to tie up. It's going to tie up Ahsoka,
Uh,
Boba Fett, Mandalorian, and I think that's it. It's going to tie up those three kind of like
mhm.
shows into one big movie,
On one big one. Okay.
which
So
which I have a feeling is going to be about stopping Thrawn.
okay, well then that means oh no, but they have the strike. They still have the strike. Because I was gonna say, like, that means if that's correct, then that means that we should see a movie by 2026 or 2027. That means they gotta have to do casting and pre-production by next year. But because of the strike, that probably got moved to 2028 now, and then they're doing all the pre-production by 2024.
Well, from what I understand, they're already working on a
They
movie
were.
already.
They
I mean,
were.
they were. I mean, I know they're already casting for a Star Wars movie. I know that
Yeah.
because I know somebody.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying. So that means if they were already in pre-production, that means it would have been released in 2026 or 2027 because pre-production starts now, and then filming starts at the end of 2024 or beginning of 2025. Filming for 6 or 8 months, release in 2026. But because of the strike, it's probably not going to be released until 2028.
Well, either way, we got this show, which ends obviously. I don't think they're going to do a season 2 of Ahsoka, at least as of right now.
Mhm.
We got season 4, The Mandalorian, which, if anything, they're going to probably start shooting that sometime next year, which
Yeah.
means we won't see it until the following year,
Yeah.
which means probably the following year after that is when we'll get the movie. So we're looking at,
Yeah.
what are we at? We're in 2023,
Yeah.
24. So 25, 26 is when we'll see that movie.
It can't be, Nate. It takes 6 to 8 months to film, and then pre-production takes about a year, and then you still have post. Post is like 2 months or three.
They
So it
put
has to be
out they put out three. Well, technically, they put out 5 Star Wars movies in the span of 6 years.
Yeah, but because they already started during that time, because the pre-production has already started. There was no news about it, but it doesn't mean that they
I mean,
haven't started.
you got to remember a lot of the stuff they're using in the Mandalorian is already reused stuff. They don't have to make all the suits because the suits already exist.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
just really a lot of the
Yeah.
scripting and the cinematography, the locations, and all that kind of stuff that they have to worry about.
But also, I have to cut you off there. The Last of Us still has to film by 20, but it has to be released by 2026.
Yeah, they were already filming though. I mean, it got
No,
shut
they
down, but they were already filming.
no, they weren't filming yet. They were still in pre-production. They weren't filming yet. They were supposed to start filming in 2025, and then they're going to release it on 2026. They were in post-production. They were in pre-production, and then they were going to go through filming by 2025 and release it on 26.
Well, just remember this: who's going to pay more money, Disney or HBO? Disney. I mean, I'm pretty sure Pedro's going to be doing both at the same time. He's going to be like Michael J. Fox, going from one job, and then when he's done with that, going to this next job right down the street,
Get the exit.
and then go to bed for 2 hours and go back.
No, that's Dwayne Johnson, man. Dwayne Johnson does that.
Well, Michael J. Fox did it for Back to the Future. He did. He worked on his sitcom show, and then at nighttime, instead of sleeping, he went to go work on Back to the Future at night.
Oh yeah, he was doing the TV show. Yeah, the TV show. I forgot what it was called. And then he did that. Yeah. But Dwayne Johnson's doing that now. He hops from one movie to another. So
He's a movie whore.
but anyways, what do you guys think about Ahsoka there? Next week, I might not have my own setup in here. I might be traveling, so I might have like a different look and all that stuff, and it might be operating through this kind of mic, not this mic.
All right.
So
where are you going? Any hints?
I'm gonna go find Thrawn.
Really? I wish you luck. May the force be with you on that one.
Anyways, that's it for today. For this week's Ahsoka review of Breaking the Jedi. Tell us what you guys thought about it, though. Nate, any last words?
Yes. Sometimes the right reasons have the wrong consequences.
My last words are always been the same, but before I say my last words, guys, please go check out my Patreon there, patreon.com/uncensored nerds. There's a lot of stuff in there. Again, I will be giving away free key issue quarterly on one of my pledges there. Quarterly. Yes. So make sure you go check that out. Also check out my website, uncensorednerds.com. That's all
Do
set.
it.
That's all set and done there. And make sure you guys follow us on Spotify, also on Plot Host Pro for all the Star Wars reviews there too. And again, my last words has always been the exact same thing. Has always been the immortal words of Jay-Z. You guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. I appreciate that. And we'll see you guys next week.